this is the biggest crossroads fight that a UFC fighter has been in for a while. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, in the famous words of Paul Revere, the British are coming.
Yes.
The British are coming. We have a stacked UFC fight night. I'm super excited for this.
Yeah.
A lot of good up-and-comers. We're going to see Paddy The Baddy make his UFC debut.
Yeah.
We're going to see if Darren Till can really push himself up into the next echelon of competition and potentially set himself up for a showdown with Israel Adesanya. And it's just going to be a great card all around.
Yeah, and Paddy The Baddy's kind of one of the most highly anticipated young prospects that we've had in quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that, you know, him coming over from the Cage Warriors promotion and kind of making a statement, he's already built a big fan base and what seems to be a pretty loyal fan base over in the UK that's moving into the American pop and the culture pretty quickly. And then Darren Till, you know, love him or hate him, a lot of people don't like some of his out of the octagon antics, and maybe he's a bit of a troll. He's kind of weird on Instagram and stuff, but he's a star, and you can wrap a card around him and it's going to do pretty good. So I'm excited for this one, and there's a ton of great UK talent.
Yeah. Also on the card is Tom Aspinall, and a lot of people are hot on this guy. They say he's going to be a potential heavyweight title contender here shortly, and he's only 28 years old.
So
10-2. Yeah, all super young for heavyweight. All 10 wins or finishes, 8 KOs, 2 subs. But before we get to him and before we get to Paddy, I want to talk about this huge main event because this, to me, this is the biggest crossroads fight that a UFC fighter has been in for a while. Yeah. And I'm talking about Darren Till taking on Derek Brunson. Darren Till taking on Derrick Brunson. Sorry, it's a bit of a tongue twister there. Because, look, if he wins this fight and beats Derek, as the odds have him as a slight favorite, then you're talking about a potential showdown with Israel Adesanya. The champ has already said he wants to book a date with Darren Till. He wants him to get a couple of wins. Only 1-3 in his last 4, so you don't really justify a date with the champ without coming out victorious here. And Derek Brunson is a guy who's played spoiler to a lot of up-and-comers recently. Edmund Shabazian, Kevin Holland. He's the guy that you put him in there, 37 years old, great wrestling skills, very athletic, and he can play a major, major spoiler. And to me, if Darren wins, everybody's talking about Izzy Monday morning. If he loses, he might get a top 10 to top 15 guy next. This is a huge crossroad fight for Darren, in my opinion. Yeah,
and this one feels like it's of a bigger magnitude than just a couple weeks ago when we saw Kelvin Gastelum and Jared Cannonier. You know, of the last 5 fights, Kelvin and Darren are both kind of in the same ballpark. You know, they can't seem to string some wins together, but they're both tough guys. They're fighting tough opponents, and so they're able to stay relevant. But your name can only keep you relevant for so long. You got to win some fights. Nobody's bigger than that. Look at Conor McGregor. He's dealing with that. People are like, all right, man, we get it. You're the richest guy in the sport, but let's see you win a fight, right? So I think people are starting to look at Darren like that. They're starting to look at Kelvin. And there's no easy fights for these guys anymore. The UFC's known for doing the opposite of boxing, of putting the best in there as quickly as possible with each other. And that's why you have so many stars getting built all at once. And it's hard because it's everybody crawling to the top and you're throwing people down. The closer you get to the top, you see somebody that's rising, they get pulled down by their ankle by somebody else coming up. And Derek Brunson has been that guy that's pulled people down multiple times. You think you're going to make it. You think you got this super young champion, or you think you got this, highlight reel type of a knockout artist, and Derek Brunson just goes, well, watch this. I'm not the old man's going to show you a thing or two. Yeah. So I think that Darren really does have to win this fight. It's a big one for him. And is he, most of the people in the UFC wouldn't really be picking somebody who's 2-4 in their last 6 fights as a potential title contender. But when you've run through the entire division, it almost is like, all right, now we just need to see him against different body types, because we've seen him in there with these certain people. And while rematches are fun, some of these fights weren't all that competitive. and maybe just, some new blood would be a better thing than a rematch. And I think Darren Till, with one big win right here, especially if he's able to make a statement and get a knockout or something like that, then I think that he'll definitely throw his name back into the mix. But you got to win this one.
Yeah, for sure. And it's him or Cannonier. And a big win against Brunson, in my opinion, puts him past Jared Cannonier just because of the excitement that could be built around the fight. And then Jared Cannonier's performance against Robert Whittaker, who will be Izzy's next opponent. So if Izzy defeats Robert again, it kind of makes that Cannonier fight, a little less interesting. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Darren Till's shoulders here. This is a must-win fight. And as you said, Derek Brunson, he's the old guy that plays spoiler. In the famous words of Johnny Drama, you may have a couple of pounds on me, but nothing outweighs experience. Right before he got his ass kicked by a high school kid at a party. Entourage reference.
Entourage, one of the best shows ever. Yeah, Johnny Drama, one of the best characters forever.
Yeah,
but I was going to say that Darren, we haven't seen him near as active as we'd probably like to, but people forget that he's really good at promoting fights and selling fights and getting people interested in what he's doing. And I think that him and Izzy, no offense to Jared Cannonier, would be able to do a pretty big night of business for the UFC, headlining a card. And especially if he's able to win this one and maybe wants to stay active and jumps in there and beats another top contender. Now you're talking about a Darren Till with a full head of steam moving right towards a title, which a lot of people thought that he would be able to get sooner than he has, right now. But I don't know. This is a tough matchup for me because Derek Brunson is so damn tough, and he's always just, willing to do what he has to do to win the fights. And I'm not saying he has a boring style, but a lot of people don't love the way that he wins those fights. He takes somebody that they really like watching down, holds them there, beats them up, and then rinse and repeat for 5 rounds or 3 rounds, however long, and then gets his hand raised at the end of the night. So he's not building a ton of fans doing that, but he's going up in the ranks.
For sure. And I think the way he would beat Darren is exactly the same way he beat Edmund Shabazian and the same way he beat Kevin Holland, which is to take him down, ground and pound him. That's where he'll have a clear advantage.
For sure.
Like you said, it's not the most exciting thing in the world. Everybody loves Kevin Holland for his striking, and Derek Brunson's like, oh, you like this guy's striking? Well, watch me let him get off no strikes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take him down, pass his guard, hold him down, ground and pound him, rinse and repeat 5 times and get my hand raised. I do think Darren is much better with the anti-wrestling, if you will, than Kevin Holland was when he took on Derek Brunson and then Edmund Shabazian proved to be. And so I think that Darren will be able to defend the takedown a little bit better, and I think Darren has a clear-cut advantage on the feet. So for that reason, I am going to say that Darren Till is going to win this. Darren and Derek, I keep wanting to cross them over.
Their names are super close. Yeah.
Till is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to get a late TKO, probably 4th round TKO, because I think he's going to exhaust Derek Brunson. I think Brunson's going to keep shooting in, trying to get that takedown because he's going to realize he's losing some of these exchanges on the feet, and then the stuffing of ththose takedowns is going to wear and accumulate on Brunson, and that's what's going to allow Till to get a late finish.
Nice. Yeah, I think a late finish, if Darren is able to win, is what's going to happen because he hasn't been as active. So he's likely going to have some ring rust, and we've only seen a couple of people. And I say a couple, Dominic Cruz, and that's pretty much it.
TJ Dillashaw maybe recently,
yeah. Funny, they're in the same thing, in the same division with a heated rivalry and everything. But those are pretty much the only 2 guys you see that don't get affected by ring rust. And so I think Darren is going to have to deal with it a little bit. So the fight's going to go longer than he'd probably like it to. But man, I think that Derek Brunson has that chip on his shoulder. He's always he now knows what the UFC is trying to do. They're trying to get him beat by these young guys, and I think that he's just bigger, stronger, and seems to be a little bit more athletic than these guys. Plus, he's a little bit angry. So, with Darren Till coming off the bench, kind of not very active, I see Derek Brunson getting this done in a 5-round decision.
Yeah, well, certainly with no fights in over a year and no wins in almost 2 years, the ring rust could play a big factor there.
Yeah.
And so I could see that. So we're split. You guys will have to let us know in the comments who's right on this one.
Yeah.
But moving right into possibly what I think is the hottest prospect to come into the UFC since Conor McGregor out of Cage Warriors, and I'm talking about Paddy The Baddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking on a guy, Luigi Vendermini, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He goes by the Italian Stallion, but he's out of Brazil. So the Brazilian-Italian guy. And this is what's interesting because Paddy is known for his slick submissions, some heel hook victories. And he's got some more TKOs under his belt recently, but he's a very good submission MMA fighter. Right. And so he's going to be taking on Luigi, who is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and has fought as high up as 170 pounds, whereas Paddy has spent a lot of his career at 145 pounds. So I don't really think they're doing Paddy the Baddy any favors here in this first fight. This is a tough first fight. A guy who knows how to grapple, a guy who's got, basically a 50-50 balance of finishes via knockout and via submission. I think he's got 4 wins via knockout, 5 via submission, or it's either one way or the other, vice versa. And so this is a very tough competitor and a guy who will probably be the bigger fella in the octagon come Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and a lot of people say, oh, well, this guy, if you don't know much about fighting, well, the bigger guy will always win. In striking, the bigger guy is usually slower and can't get the punches off in bunches or at the speed that the other guy can. He can't catch him, right?
Right.
He's just too big to catch the little guy. In grappling, which I feel like grappling is the place that Paddy would be looking to win this fight, size really does matter. And when you have somebody who's legit on the ground and has a lot of experience with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has submissions of their own, plus they're naturally a bigger person than you, so they're probably naturally stronger. It's very difficult. It's a tough battle. That everybody always talks about how Jiu-Jitsu is all about technique, and it is. Don't get me wrong. It's all about efficient movements and doing the right techniques in the right moments. But when you're meeting somebody who's equally as technical and efficient as you have to start looking at things like strength and athleticism and explosiveness. And I think that Luigi is going to be a handful for Paddy the Baddy. We haven't seen him under the bright lights of the UFC. He clearly knows how to deal with pressure. He's done main events. He's been the draw. He knows how to interact with a crowd, and he knows how to deal with the pressure. So I don't think that's going to affect him too much. But I don't know how he just wins this fight easily. I think he's going to go in there and gain 15 hard minutes of UFC experience in his first fight. I think this goes the distance.
Yeah, I see this one going the distance as well. Luigi's a tough guy to finish, and Paddy, he's not known for his one-punch knockouts. I don't think he's going to just starch Vendermini, I believe that's how you say it, in the first round and walk off and get his first UFC debut as a extreme success and took no damage. I think this is going to be a real war. It's going to be a tough-fought victory. I am picking Paddy to win this. This is basically a pick'em fight. He's the slight favorite, and by slight, I mean he's like minus 115 to minus 105 or something like that last time I saw. But I am going to pick Paddy to win. I think he handles pressure well. It'll be interesting to see how he does at the Apex because he feeds off a crowd, and there's not going to be much of a crowd at the Apex. I mean, I've seen some of the Cage Warriors walkouts to some great music.
Pretty epic.
Yeah, I've downloaded the song since, and it's in my arsenal for my workouts in the gym. It gets me pumped up. So I'm a fan of Paddy the Baddy. I like the hairstyle. Yeah. I like the fighting style. I like the character. Paddy the Baddy is a great fight name. I think he's the most touted prospect out of Cage Warriors since Conor McGregor. I think it's a tough first fight, but I think he gets the job done.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get his hand raised. It's going to be tough. I think he's coming in with a head full of steam, and a lot of people have high expectations of him. But the UFC does what the UFC does. They give you tough fights even in your first walkout. So I think that I'm going to go with Paddy as well. I don't think anybody's getting submitted. I think there's going to be a bit of a sloppy striking match that takes place. Eventually, there's going to be some cool grappling exchanges, and points are going to win him the fight. Paddy Pimblett, probably 29-28.
Nice.
Yeah.
And rounding out the English fighters on the main card, Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. Big man.
This is the guy who doesn't win unless it's a finish, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's 10 wins to 2 losses, all 10 finishes, 8 KOs, 2 submissions. The guy's got a 1-0 pro boxing record. He's a good boxer, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. As I mentioned, 28-year-old heavyweight. He's in the perfect position for an up-and-coming heavyweight in the UFC to really make some noise in the next 18 months.
Yeah, and the fact that he's a black belt, the fact that he's experienced and has some boxing under his belt and all that stuff tells me that he's been a martial artist for quite some time. And at 28 years old, that's so young at the heavyweight division. He's almost kind of figuring out that, hey, all these heavyweights are old. They're long in the tooth. They've been in this game for a long time. Maybe I can go in there and just use my athleticism, my youth, my speed, those types of attributes, and go run up the rankings really quickly. Yeah. You see there's a lot of older guys that he's probably going to be able to get the jump on because, he doesn't have the cage time. He doesn't have the jaw that's been getting hit at heavyweight for that many years. So I think that this is a guy that you definitely have to watch out for in the heavyweight division, because he could probably insert himself with a couple of key victories. And obviously they're exciting. They're usually knockouts. He could insert himself as a top prospect or top contender at heavyweight.
I certainly think so. And really good boxing and good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if Junior Dos Santos tells us anything, that does you well, serves you well in the heavyweight division. Stipe Miocic, great boxing. Francis Ngannou, the champion, great boxing. Yeah. So I think Tom is in good company. I think the age is right, as you said. He's going to be taking on Sergey Spivak. Sergey's a tough fighter. He just beat Alexei Olenek. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's got, similar to Paddy's opponent Luigi, he's got a balanced mix of finishes via submission and knockout. I think he's kind of 50-50 as well, 5 and 6, 5 submissions, 6 KOs, or vice versa. Very tough opponent. But I do see Tom being crisper, sharper, faster, able to land the shots. And I think his grappling, he'll have a slight disadvantage in the grappling, but I don't think it'll be enough to where he gets caught with anything or gets his back taken, loses rounds or anything like that because of the grappling disparity. I think he picks him apart on the feet. And I'm actually thinking Tom Aspinall is going to get a first-round knockout here.
Yeah, I think this fight's going to be a finish. They're the big boys always, they hit hard, and usually nobody can withstand the shots that they give up there. I think that this fight's largely going to take place on the feet. They're going to be striking with each other, and like you said, Aspinall is a good striker. He's pretty crisp with what he does. He moves well for a big guy, and I think that while I want to see a finish, and I'm leaning towards it being a finish, it's probably going to come a little later because they're both going to be trying to crack each other. They're going to feel each other's power out a little bit in the beginning. So I'm going to go third round, Aspinall finish, TKO.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Nick and I have been looking forward to doing this one because we know a lot of you guys watch from the UK, and this is an awesome card with tons of English talent on it. So we hope you guys enjoy the fights. It's actually going to be at a reasonable hour in your neck of the woods, and Nick and I get to enjoy an afternoon card, so that is always fun. And guys, if you've enjoyed the video, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, The Barnhill Brothers. We're growing, and we appreciate all the support. And a like if you'd like, and a comment if you will, is much appreciated. And check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts. Have a great day, guys.
Peace.